So hi everybody, my name is Natasha Chan. A little bit more about myself. So I'm a principal solutions consultant at Adobe within the higher education practice. So what that means is it's my role to be a technical and strategic thought partner to our customers, specifically in higher education. And a large part of my role is demoing what we like to call the art of the possible. So today's session, I'm going to talk about some of our objectives in a little bit. We'll be focused on exactly that, just thinking about AI, where we're headed, how it impacts higher education, but also creativity. And then I'll be doing a few demos of our product as well, just to help you all get immersed in what Adobe can do. But a little bit about my background. So before Adobe, I was a creative strategist with Salesforce's Innovation and Design Studio. I also have direct experience working in higher education. I was formerly an associate director in career management at the University of Chicago's Booth School of Business. So I helped a lot of MBAs find internships and full-time jobs. So I love working with students. It's a huge passion of mine. And then a few other things as well. I used to work in consulting. So I was a change management consultant, helping institutions that were undergoing technical changes. So I think a lot of these experiences have really given me a unique lens and perspective to speak about this topic today. So moving on to the session objectives, and also I'm seeing a little bar here. Hopefully you all can't see that, and it's just my view. But if anything comes up, Champagnute or Katie, if you could just come on camera or on speaker and just let me know if there's any technical glitches. But in terms of our session objectives today, I have three main objectives for everyone here. The first is really to gain insights, again, from myself on the future of AI and creativity. Next is to hear how Adobe tools are helping to revolutionize teaching, learning, and career readiness. And then the last, again, is to see some product demonstrations that will really help to illustrate how creativity, collaboration, and automation can be achieved on any campus. All right, so diving right into the content, I just wanted to set the tone for the day. So this was a quote that Scott Belsky, our former chief strategy officer, actually used to kick off Adobe's Max conference last year. So for those who don't know, Max is a time when all of the creatives in the world come together, and people who are big Adobe enthusiasts from every industry, they come together just to learn about what Adobe is doing. But he started our conference with this quote: "The most regretful people on earth are those who felt the call to creative work, who felt their own creative power restive and uprising and gave to it neither power nor time." So I just wanted to thank everybody here for coming today and for listening to that call. You might have some sort of creative itch. You might just be curious about Adobe and our products, but you gave into that and you came here to give us your time and to learn a little bit more. So I just wanted to express gratitude for that and set the tone for the day. So first and foremost, I just wanted to address the generative AI elephant in the room. We're hearing about AI everywhere in every industry, not only just because we live in Silicon Valley, but it's something that's impacting the entire nation and the globe as well. And one thing I did want to call out as well, so this entire presentation that I've built was using our product Adobe Express. And some of these generative AI images were actually created by Adobe Firefly. So if you're seeing any of those icons in the bottom right-hand corner, that's where our images are from. And I'm hoping to have some time at the end for some Q&A, but just take note of those. And if you're curious where I got the graphics from, that's where they came from. So some things that we're hearing, especially within higher education and how AI is impacting our industry, there's basically no homework assignment that AI cannot do at this point. So this was a quote from Ethan Mollick, the author of Co-Intelligence, Living and Working with AI. So keeping that in mind, like how might we prepare students to really thrive as creative, critical, and career-ready problem solvers through the use of these emerging technologies? Rather than being worried about them, fearing them, worried about how they might replace our jobs, how can we lean into that energy? So at Adobe, what we like to think about is IA, so the reverse, intelligence augmentation. So what does that mean? Intelligence augmentation happens when humans and AI work together to accomplish more as a team than either could do flying solo. So, again, we like to think of AI at Adobe as a tool that's meant to be leveraged versus something to be feared or something that's replacing the user. So again, Scott Belsky, who gave that quote in the beginning, said that we're actually moving from the prompts era of AI, and we're at this critical tipping point. Instead of just typing in something into an image generator or a prompt generator, we are now moving into the controls era of AI. So at Adobe, we're really focused on making sure that artists, creators, and users feel like they're in the control seat, the driver's seat, and you're not just accepting an image or something like an output that's created for you, but you have the ability to actually tweak it and again use it as a launching point for anything that you're trying to create or build. So this collaboration is based on two concepts, reckoning versus judgment. So AI operates through reckoning, which is calculating predictions based on what it knows, data that can be calculated, memorized, and repeated. But where humans differ is that humans operate through judgment. So we live based on our experiences, and they continually inform how we see the world and equip us to make complex decisions. So, with these two things working together, that's where that collaboration of intelligence augmentation can really come into play. And we're at a sweet spot where we can leverage the strengths of both AI and our own humanity to really build some incredible things. So, knowing all of these things and kind of building that context, anyone who's looking for their first or next job should really double down on those skills and abilities that AI cannot touch. So, they really need to start developing durable skills, and those skills can last a lifetime. So, these are things like creativity and teamwork. And that's one of the main questions that Katie, my colleague on the call, who I'll introduce in a little bit, we get a lot of those questions when we talk to our customers, but also from people who are interested in joining Adobe as well. You know, what kind of AI skills do I need to really compete in this job market? Or what are the things that I need to do to boost my resume? While it's important to be proficient in these tools, again, doubling down on your humanity, your storytelling, soft skills, strategy, those are things that are more difficult for this version of AI to really touch and compete with us on. And I'm also seeing a few questions in the chat. Yes, we will be recording this presentation as well. But Katie, thanks for answering those questions for me. All right. In addition to skills, the World Economic Forum mentions that according to the 2025 Future of Jobs report, again, some of these top skills that are on the rise are creative and analytical thinking, technological literacy, curiosity, lifelong learning, resilience, flexibility, and agility. So, especially folks who are going to be hiring in the workforce, these are some of the things that they look for, especially when they're thinking about culture fit, for example, or things that they're looking for in to work in conjunction with AI. So, here are some examples of some of those durable skills that we talked about in the previous slide. So some stats from actual employers. So 93% of employers prioritize human-centered skills. And surprisingly, they are really interested in hiring candidates with some folks that who have strong interpersonal skills and communication skills, which are really critical for that adaptability and versatility in the workplace. Again, AI is changing at a really rapid pace, so being able to flex and pivot and be on your toes and change with the industry versus being very stuck in the status quo or the way that we've been doing things in the past, that's all going to be thrown out the window now with AI. So again, places like Deloitte, who creates these future work insights, have emphasized the need for these human-centered skills. And then also in the classroom. So integrating creativity with AI is not something that's just a fun activity to do in the classroom. It truly is an essential instructional practice and learned skill for empowering the next generation to succeed. So this isn't something that's just for students or just for employers to think about. Faculty, staff, as they're starting to grow the next generation of workforce, it's important for them to start incorporating these tools into their everyday practices so that it becomes more of the norm versus something that we're reacting to. So with all of that being said, we want to emphasize the fact that students are not just consumers of information, but they themselves are authentic producers. So when students are sitting in the classroom, again, listening to their faculty, maybe they're interacting with career services, for example, we don't want them to just be consuming things that the industry is producing. They themselves have the ability to create amazing experiences and assets. So I want to walk through a couple of tools that Adobe has to really help put these creative tools and productivity tools around AI into the hands of students. So first is Adobe Express. So Adobe Express is really revolutionizing how students are demonstrating digital fluency and communicating visually. So hopefully some folks here have heard of Adobe Express, but if you haven't, it's an amazing tool that combines the power of a lot of our more in-depth tools like Creative Cloud, Photoshop, Illustrator, but it packages them into a really easy to use tool. Even if you have no design experience, it allows you to create reports, presentations, infographics. You can create content for social media, long form web stories, digital portfolios, video animation. And again, I will be walking through some demos in a little bit, but I just want to give you an overview of these tools so that you know what you're going to be seeing. And then next is Firefly. So Firefly is our AI tool, and your imagination is truly the limit with this tool. It's an incredibly powerful generative AI tool that allows not only text image, but text to video as well. And something that we are super proud of at Adobe, again, we have creators from around the world who are using our tools to generate images. And one of the biggest concerns that especially artists and creators have is whether or not their images are going to be put out into the web and then maybe used to train models, or maybe other people, maybe you say you have a very unique style, for example. A lot of folks are worried about people out in the world getting access to that or incorporating that into their own work. Most notably, something that hit headlines recently was Hayao Miyazaki, who is the creator of Studio Ghibli. So a lot of people are probably familiar with his work, like Kiki's Delivery Service or My Neighbor Totoro. So he actually said that AI was an insult to life itself, because he felt that he is so proud of his craft and he has teams of people who train their whole lives, and it's an honor to work for his studio. With some of these models that are now out on the internet, while it's great, that people are now able to go in, type in a prompt, and see an image that they had in their head brought to life in the Studio Ghibli style, it does raise a lot of ethical questions, copyright, and just whether or not an image is considered art, or whether an image is considered someone's own if it's actually in the style of someone else's art. So with all of that being said, Adobe Firefly is really mindful about making sure that we're being thoughtful and responsible about the development of our AI. We are only training our images on content that Adobe owns or that is part of the public domain. We do not claim any ownership to any content, including content that is created with Adobe Firefly. So all of our users can be rest assured that their content will stay theirs and that it will not be used by anyone else except for them. And Adobe is also a proud founder of the Content Authenticity Initiative. So this was something that was founded back in 2019. I believe there are over 4,000 members of this initiative now, where folks are really focused on making sure that we are transparent in all of the AI assets that are generated. So what this means, it's an example here. If an image is generated using any of Adobe's tools, we actually have something that's sort of like a nutrition label for an image. So over on the right, you're able to see what product was used to create a specific image, what AI tool was used to manipulate that image, and what specific changes were made. Again, it is a concern, just as the industry is moving so rapidly, there's a concern about misinformation, or whether or not something is real now, or whether it's been manipulated by AI. So Adobe is really proud to be able to have tools like this to enforce transparency and making sure that folks feel comfortable that what they're seeing, where it's coming from, who made it, etc. And the last tool that I want to share with you all is Acrobat AI Assistant. So usually people either know Adobe either for our creative tools or for PDFs. So we do have a bunch of productivity tools as well that can really help students, faculty, and staff. So the first is how we can help, AI Assistant can help to summarize long PDFs, explain technical concepts, generate questions while reading academic papers, brainstorm ideas, locate key information within those documents or PDFs. And then another great thing that I'm excited to show an example of is tailoring job-specific applications for competitive job markets, and then also integrating AI literacy into curriculum. So like I said, that was a lot of words that I shared with you, but now I want to take you on an immersive journey to help put all those pieces together and help you all kind of visualize how these tools can really help both in the classroom, post-graduation, and beyond. So I want you all to come on this immersive journey with me. So I'm going to be showcasing how we are enabling students, faculty, and staff as critical, ethical, and agile users of emerging technology. So I'm going to be doing a few demos on how Acrobat AI Assistant and Express can really help universities automate tasks to free up mental load, streamline job search and preparation, and up-level creativity and communication. So in this first chapter, we're going to be focusing on automating tasks to free up mental load, and we're going to be introduced to different personas. So in this first persona, we'll be meeting Emma. She's faculty at a fictional university that we'll call Altura. So Emma is a new adjunct faculty member in the Department of Biology. And as a new school year approaches, she's going to need to put together syllabi, study guides, and assessments for her students. So in this demo that you're about to see, we'll see how Emma leverages Acrobat AI Assistant to auto tag for accessibility in the PDFs, and then also create AI assisted quizzes using AI Assistant as well.
So here we see that Emma is looking at a textbook for her Biology 101 class. After converting it to a PDF for her students, she recognizes that there are actually no accessibility tags for students who have vision, hearing, learning, or sensitivity needs. In just a few quick clicks, she can go over to her tools and select Prepare for Accessibility and automatically tag the PDF. With just the click of a button, we see that Acrobat works hard to add all the appropriate tags for the entire document. And in just a few seconds, we see that auto tagging has been completed. Emma can also run the accessibility checker to ensure that the documents that she creates are meeting compliance standards such as PDF, UA, and WCAG 2.0, and address any issues that might need some manual checks, like logical reading order, and also color contrast, or adding in figure alt text to ensure that images are not only described but understood. Now that she's tagged the textbook, she needs to go through each of the 21 chapters and come up with quizzes that will test her students' understanding and application of the concepts learned in class. To save some time, she enlists the help of Adobe's Acrobat AI Assistant. So once she clicks on Chat with PDF, she sees that some suggested prompts for summarizing and digesting the material have already been generated for her. However, she has a specific task in mind and starts by simply typing in her prompt. Write 10 multiple choice questions with 5 answers based on Bloom's taxonomy level 2 knowledge. Like many other educators, she was trained with Bloom's taxonomy framework and wants to ensure that the questions are specifically crafted to test level 2 comprehension skills. So she adds in this additional specificity. And in less than a minute, she's given 10 questions to start with and can review, edit, or keep the results that she finds as appropriate. As she's looking over the questions, she thinks they're pretty good, but she wants to make them a bit more difficult. So she edits the prompt, and she can see that the questions have then been slightly altered. These questions are starting to look great, but now Emma realizes that she also needs an answer key to easily grade her quizzes, so she can also type this in and have that generated for her. And in just a few minutes from start to finish, she's generated a quiz that will test students with the appropriate level of difficulty and ensure that she's meeting the necessary educational goals and learning outcomes. What usually takes hours can be done quickly and painlessly, allowing her to move on to other activities and tasks that are important to her.
Great. So now that we've seen an example for faculty, I want to move on to an example for students and how AI Assistant can help to streamline the job search and preparation process. So now we'll be introduced to our second persona, Alex. So she's a student at Altura University, and she is currently applying for her first internship. She's feeling a little overwhelmed by the competitive job market, and she wants to make sure that she's putting her best foot forward when applying for roles. So now we're going to see how Acrobat AI Assistant can help with tailoring standout resumes, cover letters, and networking materials.
Alex is interested in marketing roles and has her eye on an open community manager internship. Here we see that she has uploaded the job description along with her resume, combining them into one PDF. If needed, she also has the option to upload additional documents or files that might be relevant. When she opens up AI Assistant, she is greeted with some auto generated questions to help her get started, analyzing the file and creating a brief summary of the text. As she's trying to tailor this resume to the job description, she's going to ask AI assistants for some guidance by entering a prompt like rank fit for role by comparing resume to job description, provide justification. AI assistant can help to provide objective feedback on her candidacy based on the data and will give her meaningful scores that she can continue iterating on and improving. Even if she's ranked highly, she can always identify areas to improve on by asking things like, based on the job description, is there anything I should add or take out of my resume? What are keywords that are in this job description that I should highlight? After hitting send, she's given detailed recommendations that allow her to identify specific skills and bullets in her resume that could benefit from additional emphasis, as well as areas to trim, ensuring that her resume is concise, relevant, and impactful. Another valuable component to AI Assistant is its citation capacity. It will allow her to share exactly where in the documents the feedback is related to so that she can easily find her place and make the recommended edits. Next, she can use the exact same process to write a cover letter. Based on the skills and experiences in her resume, Alex can ask AI Assistant to create a first draft that is tailored to the job description. For example, write a 300-word cover letter based on why my skills and experiences make me a great fit for the role noted in the job description. She can now copy this response into a Word document for her to edit and refine further, ensuring that her voice and specific nuances are captured as she imagined.
So something to note, AI Assistant is here to help students produce a launching point for further drafts and iterations, offering
It's
inspired.
important to
Oops,
note that this is not meant
sorry.
to replace critical.
Oop, that let me pause here. What I meant to say was AI Assistant is meant to be a launching point for drafts and iterations. It is not meant to replace the experience of a student crafting their personal story. So, like I mentioned, I used to work in career services myself. And as MBAs were applying for internships and full time jobs, and part of the process would require them to create cover letters. Students would often come to us and say, do you have any examples of what good looks like? So we often had a group of second year advisors, for example, who would share past cover letters that they've created. Students often go on the internet and will Google things like, I'm curious what a good cover letter for the specific job description in this industry might look like. So this is really no different than that. It is meant to be a draft and a first launching point. Again, it's not meant to be copied and pasted and then sent off. There are going to be things where students will need to edit for, again, their own voice and their own nuances. And then specifically with the resumes, a lot of questions that I used to get from my students is they want data. They want to know specifically what is the percentage fit based on their job description and their bullet points. How good of a fit are they? Is it 80%? Is it 75%? Like, how much work do I actually have to do on my resume? So this is a really great objective way to have AI Assistant give some of those data points. So again, students are able to tweak and edit as needed. So just wanted to put that caveat out there. But the next demo that I'm going to be showing you, so we'll pretend that Alex now has her resume and her cover letter geared up, but now she wants to start the networking process. And so she's going to be on LinkedIn quite often. So in this next demo, we'll see how Adobe Express, a different tool now, is going to help Alex create a new LinkedIn profile picture.
Now let's follow Alex as she uses Express to generate a LinkedIn profile picture. From her homepage, she has several options to get started. First, she can upload her own content like an image, video, PDF, or video to further iterate and build upon. She can also generate custom images and templates from scratch using AI. She can also explore quick actions such as removing a background, generating a QR code, resizing a video, animating characters, or even captioning videos. The best part of this option is that she doesn't have to hop in and out of multiple softwares like Photoshop or Illustrator if she just wants to get something done quickly. It can all be done here and on the web in Express. Lastly, if she doesn't want to start from a blank canvas, she can also browse thousands of professionally designed commercial grade templates to spark ideas and inspiration. She also has the option of clicking on this purple plus sign up in the left-hand corner, and she can select the specific type of asset that she wants to create. Alternatively, she can also type in directly to the search bar. In this instance, she knows that she is specifically trying to create a LinkedIn profile picture. So she types in LinkedIn and is instantly greeted with a variety of options like creating a blog image feature, carousel ad, a LinkedIn Live tab. But in this instance, she knows that she's trying to create a profile picture. So she clicks there and she's taken to her workspace and sees that she has a few options to guide her through the process over in the left-hand panel. She can either generate a template by selecting the specific asset that she's trying to create, then typing in the prompt to get exactly what she wants. For example, a poster for a chess tournament. Or she can select one of the recommendations that's already surfaced to her. She's really liking this one on the left and decides to start there. She appreciates its simplicity and minimalism, but that it still has some color and texture. Now, all she needs to do is replace the image with her own. So she selects the stock image and can select replace. And from here, she can search for her headshot. And she sees that her photo has been taken into her workspace, but it needs to be reformatted. So she can start clicking on the corners here, and she sees that there are some magenta grid lines to help make sure that her image is centered. And just like that, her photo is now exactly in the middle and it's pulled into the template. However, she's noticing that this image came in with the background and it's blocking the beautiful graphics behind her. So she uses some of the pre-built editing tools over on this left-hand toolbar to quickly remove the background. In just a few seconds, the background is removed, but now she's seeing that there's some flyaway hairs that are looking a little bit distracting. So she decides to use the erase feature, but she notices that the brush size is a bit too large. So she can scale this down to help get some of those finer details and just start clicking erase. And in just a few clicks, her image is looking a lot more polished and professional. But the more that she's staring at her photo, she's not really liking the black and white after all and wants to bring some color back into her face. So she can easily go over to the effects panel and remove the grayscale tone that has been applied on the template by clicking none. And just like that, Alex now has a professional headshot with some creative, artistic elements that speak to her. And if she wants to continue playing around with all of these different tones, she's more than welcome to do so. So, in addition to her updated resume and cover letter, Alex is feeling a lot more confident and prepared to dive headfirst into her job search.
All right, so now we've seen a faculty example and a student example, but we also want to talk about how Adobe tools can uplevel creativity and communication for staff. So the last persona that we'll be introducing you to is Brett. So Brett is in marketing at Altura University, and he and his team are gearing up for back to school in the fall, and they want to start queuing up branded assets to launch across email and social media campaigns. So, in this final chapter, I'll be walking us through how Brett is able to leverage brand kits and asset templates with Adobe Express.
In Express, Brett navigates over to the left-hand panel and clicks on Brands. This is where Altura can organize and keep all the latest creative assets, ensuring that materials generated are approved, unified, and accessible in one centralized location. Brett and his team have the ability to house their logos, colors, custom fonts, and assets by directly uploading them into Express. Here we can see a library of transparent icons in a variety of shapes and sizes. We also see color palettes that are full of swatches imported based on specific hex codes so that Altura can get just the right shade of brown, gray, white, or any color, as well as customized fonts and approved photography. So now that Brett and his team have built their brand kit, let's go ahead and start building out a template for a weekly email newsletter that will let students know about important tasks and events happening during the first few weeks of returning to campus. He goes back to the purple plus sign and types in newsletter, and he's taken to a new workspace. On the left-hand panel, he's greeted with many different templates to choose from. Adobe Express has almost 50,000 commercially safe, expertly designed templates to match any style or mood. So to narrow down his choices, he types in campus newsletter to see what inspiration he can draw from. He's really liking the minimal style and curved shapes of this first template and decides to go with that. Every element of this template is completely customizable and editable. But Brett wants to get started by applying the brand kit that he and the marketing team just put together. So to start, he goes back to brands and simply clicks Apply Brand. Immediately, we see that the colors and fonts have changed to match what is in the kit. From there, he can start swapping out icons. He can start with this one that's been imported in and delete it and scroll to logos and put one in that matches the university and scale this down to start matching the shapes and sizes of the template. And as this is a back to school letter, he wants to change the image to some of the campus covered in fall foliage. He can delete the one that's in here and add in one from the approved assets. Once again, he can start dragging this into the template and shape it as needed so that it matches perfectly into the background. One of the events that he wants to highlight in the coming week is a digital literacy summit, where students will have the opportunity to meet with various tech companies who will be on campus showcasing their tools and products. He also decides to add in an AI-generated image to match the theme and spirit of the event. To start, he goes to media. And another note here, Express gives Brett and his team access to Adobe's vast library of stock images, videos, audio, and also in Elements, he also has assets, backgrounds, shapes, and icons that he can use to further customize any template. The possibilities are truly endless. So hopping back into media, he selects Generate Image. And he has options to choose from various sizes, but he decides to start with a square, knowing that he can easily crop or change the image later. To start, he will need to type in a prompt describing what he would like to see. He tries to add in as much feeling and specificity as possible to generate a compelling and eye-catching image. So he types in students happily working alongside AI to complete a research project in a futuristic lab of computers. He can even add reference images to influence the specific style, look and feel, as well as composition or arrangement of positions in an image. He can also select the specific content type of the output, such as photo, graphic, art, and he can also specify the specific type of style that he wants to see, such as digital art, having it look like it was created by a palette knife or layered paper. He's happy with the prompt that he's added in and simply selects Generate. After a few seconds, several results will have been generated, and Brett can click through the images to find the perfect one that matches the idea in his head. Once he has the right one, he can crop it to a certain shape and move it around on the workspace. In just a few minutes, Brett is already nearly done with created a branded, compelling asset that he can easily share with his team and replicate for future use. What previously felt like a daunting, time-intensive task has been made fun, intuitive, and fast.
So just to recap what we saw, these three demos with Acrobat AI Assistant and Express have shown how faculty can automate tasks to free up some mental load, how students can streamline the job search and preparation process, and how staff can really up-level creativity, communication, and collaboration. So one of the last things that I want to leave you all with is a peek into the future. So at Adobe, one of the exciting things that was constantly going on in the background is just iterations and versions of our tools. So especially for our higher education students, something that we will soon have access to is premium generative AI features, specifically with video. So in this next demo that I'll be showing you, we'll be showcasing a little bit of a harbor tour of what is currently on our Firefly website. So if folks after this call want to go and take a peek at that, a lot of these features were recently moved out of beta into general. They're now available for the general audience. But I'll be doing a harbor cruise of what that web page looks like, and then as well a demo of text to video, and then also translation. So when somebody is speaking in one language, just being able to automatically translate that into another language and actually syncing the mouth movements to that as well.
With the new offerings, EDU customers will now have access to premium AI video features in Firefly, such as text to video, image to video, video translation with synchronized lip sync, and generative extend in Premiere Pro. The text to video feature is powered by Adobe's Firefly model, which prioritizes commercial safety and is trained on licensed and public domain content, not Adobe user data. Adobe recognizes the value of offering diverse AI models and integrates with third-party partners like Google Veo to allow users to access different aesthetic styles and capabilities to generate videos with realistic motion and high-quality output. So after typing in a desired prompt, users will not only see an image brought to life, but can now see that image in motion with the opportunity to adjust resolution, aspect ratio, frames per second, and duration. It's important to note that video generation does require a fair amount of generative credits, given that each user will have 1,000 credits per month. And they'll need to use their discretion when making these adjustments, as each choice does correspond to a specific credit amount, which is displayed next to the Generate button with transparency. Next is video translation, which allows a user to record a video and translate it into over 20 languages. Here you'll see a video that was recorded and uploaded into Firefly, and it was already detected that the video is in English and captions have been generated. Hi there, my name is Natasha Chan and I'm a graphic design student. I'll be walking you through my final presentation for Data Visualization 101. When I look at a chart or graph, the first thing that I'm drawn to is graphics, and I often try to make sense of what I'm seeing before reading any text. So my goal for this project was to create an infographic that can easily guide a viewer and give clues as to where to look or what's most important before I even begin explaining. When I click on the drop-down and begin to select which languages I want to translate into, let's go ahead and click Italian and Japanese. I can see in the bottom how many credits each language will require. I can also turn on match the speaker's mouth to the audio translation so that the mouth movements match the new language that the video will be translated into. After hitting generate, the videos are then instantly updated with movie magic. So let's take a look.
こんにちは。私の名前はナターシャちゃんで、グラフィックデザインの学生です。データビジュアライゼーションの最終プレゼンテーションについて説明します。チャートやグラフを見ると、最初に引き寄せられるのはグラフィックであり、テキストを読む前に見ているものを理解しようとすることがよくあります。ですから、
Look at Italian.
ehi là! Mi chiamo Natasha Chan e sono una studentessa di graphic design. Vi guiderò attraverso la mia presentazione finale per Data Visualization, one 100 andone, quando guardo un grafico o un grafo.
For quick editing, these videos can then be taken into Express, where users can continue to iterate on the videos they just created. For example, users can enhance the speech just to focus on the speaker's voice, or from there, they can add in different video backgrounds using the library of thousands of images, videos, graphics, and assets pulling directly from Adobe stock. So, for example, if I'm interested in something abstract and colorful, I can do a quick search and see what pops up in video. So, if I want to add this in the background, all I have to do is just resize it to match the board, pull this into the background of the image, and hit play.
こんにちは。私の名前はナターシャちゃんで、グラフィックデザインの学生です。データビジュアライゼーションの最終プレゼンテーションについて説明します。チャートやグラフを見ると、最初に引き寄せられるの。
And just like that, I've added in some visual interest and fun.
Great. So now that we've seen a couple of demos and we've kind of walked through how Adobe is approaching AI and some insights, particularly how this can apply to higher education, if you all are interested in learning more about Adobe and upskilling on some of these tools on your own, there are a lot of different ways to continue learning about Adobe products and tools. So the first is to actually get some micro credentials. So Adobe actually has 12 free self-paced career skills for students with digital badges that you can actually display on your LinkedIn or on your resume. If people are interested in applying to Adobe, we actually have a job application course. It's a dedicated self-paced creative skills course on how to showcase essential skills, portfolios, and credentials on LinkedIn. The third is actually career certificates as well in partnership with Coursera. So there are certificates for careers as a content creator, for digital marketer, for graphic designer. And then lastly are professional certifications. So these are formal industry recognitions with digital Credly badges that help to demonstrate mastery of Adobe tools for must-have knowledge in digital creative jobs and careers. So with all of that, I just wanted to review again some of the objectives from earlier this morning. I hope you all have gained some insights from myself on the future of AI and creativity. We've showed you some tools and how they're helping to revolutionize teaching, learning, and career readiness. And I also hope that these product demonstrations help to illustrate how creativity, collaboration, and automation can be achieved on campus. So I think we have about 15 minutes for Q&A if folks are interested to come off of mute. I also wanted to introduce my colleague, Katie Pierce. And then we also have these two folks who are also on our team as well. Garrett Schwartz is our document cloud specialist, and Julie Person is a senior express specialist. But if any of you have any questions about anything that you saw today, any of our tools, you're welcome to reach out to any of us. But Katie, if you wouldn't mind coming on, if you wanted to share any words or closing thoughts, would love to invite you to do so.
Sure. Well, Natasha, thank you so much for taking the time. I love listening to you speak, and I think your insight is really valuable. And I hope folks have something to take away. And if you have questions or if you want to have a conversation with us, please reach out. I'll put our emails in the chat. There did seem to be a lot of questions about credits, so I'd love to take a few minutes just to walk through how the credit model works since we're all here. So currently, if you have a Creative Cloud license that's been provided to you by the university, there's 1,000 monthly credits within your Creative Cloud license, and those can be used for Firefly, for oh, now my face is all big. Those can be used for Firefly, for the Gen AI. And so it's 1,000 monthly credits, but they do there's not a hard cap. And so if you do end up going over those 1,000 credits for image generation, you'll be able to continue to use the software and to continue to use those tools, but it will be generated at a slower pace. So essentially, it's throttled, similar to if you have a data plan with Verizon and you go over your data, you can still access data, but it might move a little bit more slowly. Anything to add there, Natasha?
Nope, I think you captured that perfectly.
The only thing I will say is that for some of those really cool video features Natasha shared, we are in the midst of launching premium video credits. So those are not available yet for education through our agreement. I know I've heard from quite a few people who are playing around with those online. So if you did buy Creative Cloud through Adobe's website, you can get access to those. We would I think the better pathway is to wait, and we'd love to get that added to our contract with Stanford. Those premium video credits will be coming out by the end of August. So anyway, hold tight, and we'll work with administration to see if we can get that added. But they've just released, and we're making sure that they're appropriate and packaged and compliant for education.
Thanks, Katie.
Sure.
I also see a question in the chat about while using AI assistant to summarize a document that is confidential, does AI keep a copy of it? How does confidentiality of the document work? It's a great question. I know specifically for institutions like Stanford, there's a lot of research that happens and a lot of research that has not been published or released out into the world yet. So that is something that we're also really proud of with Acrobat AI Assistant and how it differs from some other tools that are available on the web right now. So we actually only when Acrobat AI Assistant is analyzing a document, it is only pulling from within the document that has been uploaded. It is not searching the crawling the web or trying to pull any other information in, and it is not uploading your information out into the web at all. It is keeping it within the platform, and only you will have access to that. So you don't have to worry about any documents that you're being uploaded being used to train the model for future iterations or responses. The way it works is that there is a static data lake that has been uploaded from OpenAI back in 2022. And so that's how it's able to reference things that are outside of your document. So, for example, in that demo that I did for the faculty, they are uploading a textbook, but they're able to ask a question about Bloom's taxonomy, which is likely not in that textbook. But because Bloom's taxonomy is part of that open data lake from OpenAI, the 2022 version, that's what the model is running on to help generate a response. But again, it's not going out to the web to surface that information for you. It's just housed within the application itself. But the caveat for that is that if you're asking about something that maybe happened in 2024 that you want to apply, as of today, it is again based on this static data lake from 2022. So that's just something to be mindful of. But you can be rest assured that any documents that you use with an Acrobat AI assistant are confidential and will not be shared broadly.
And then Natasha, we don't store those documents. So I believe we leave them, they'll be in the cloud for 12 hours. And then after that point, they'll be deleted.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then I'm seeing a question about non-education Photoshop. So how are credits used and is it also throttled? So for Photoshop, you for anything that requires generative credit, so anything AI related, it will require just monitoring those amounts of credits as well, and that is going to vary based on who the specific agreements that are made with a specific customer. But in terms of just using Photoshop itself and all of the different features, you can just use that freely. It's just specifically for anything that requires generative credits or generative AI. That's when that would apply.
All right. I'm throwing our emails in the chat. If you have any other questions, please reach out to us. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.